On the contrary, let's talk about The Warning's brand new album, Keep Me Fed. This is the first time we're discussing The Warning on this podcast, and I've been waiting patiently to discuss this band. When they released More as the lead single last year, I was like, okay, this is one of their best songs, but I didn't want to discuss it on the podcast for falling into the trap of band releases really good debut single and then underwhelms for every single and album after that. I didn't want to have to discuss another underwhelming album from this band because the album that came before this, Error, really didn't do much for me. It wasn't until they re-released Choke with Grandson and 0936 that I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. More was the first original song of theirs without any features on it that I was like, okay, I think I see the vision here. Then they released Sick at the start of this year, and I'm like, okay, The Warning are on some shit. These are two back-to-back really good singles. And now I'm here, we're about 10 days removed from the release of this album, Keep Me Fed. We don't discuss a lot of rock, pure rock music on this podcast. We discuss a lot of metalcore. We discuss a lot of post-hardcore, pop punk, like hard rock. We don't discuss a lot of pure rock. You think of bands like Hailstorm or Shinedown or bands kind of under those sorts of names. This might be my favorite pure rock album that I have heard in the better part of 5 years.
Damn.
This is, I want to say this is the best pure rock album I've heard since Shinedown's Attention in 2018. Admittedly, I don't listen to a lot of pure rock. I'm sure there's a lot of other great albums out there in the genre, but I've listened to a couple. I listened to Plush. They're a new band that released a debut album back in 2021. It was okay. Dorothy, another band that's kind of big in just like rock music. Their last album, Gifts from the Holy Ghost, it was just okay with a couple of good songs on it. The Warning, with Keep Me Fed here, I think there's maybe 2 whiffs on this album, and it comes with Satisfied and Burnout, and even then Satisfied is growing on me a lot. Everything else on this album is just like nearly flawless as far as I'm concerned. I want to praise something about everything. I want to praise something about every song on this album other than Satisfied and Burnout, pretty much. Like, I have so little negativity to say about this album coming from a band that I was very uninvested in other than, oh, they featured Grandson, one of my favorite artists of all time. For them to follow up an underwhelming album with something that is as flawless as this is mind-blowing to me. I don't know what happened, but let me get into some of the moments on this album that have really hooked me. Starting with the opener, 6 Feet Deep. Really what it comes down to in that song, it's the bass and it's the delivery in the chorus. So what are you gonna say when you're choking on my name? 'Cause it's over, 6 feet deep, I'll be seeing you underground, before laying into a really sick riff. Speaking of sick, the next song is Sick. And the main hook of that song is, give me violence, kill the silence, do what makes me feel sick. The final chorus of that song, the bridge like drops out into this very slow, like slowly spoken word thing before it goes back into a slow delivery of the chorus of give me violence, kill the silence. And they scream silence as all the instrumentation comes back. And it's such a cool contrast because you think of silence as silence. Nothing. Silence is no sound. But they emphasize the silence and belt it harder than anything they've said for the last 20 seconds in the song. It's a really small touch, but it's a really cool thing. Apologize is another just generally really fun song. You get to track 4, Kamos Kiris, the 4th song on this album, which is where I'm going to mention that this band is a group of 3 sisters from Mexico. It is not often we discuss a band with sisters in it, let alone a band from Mexico, and to get both in the same band is kind of crazy. Kamos Kiris, I was looking up the lyrics and found on Genius that the title, Que Más Quieres, translates to what else do you want? And the context behind this song is it's about taunting and manipulating. We were thinking of the TikTok phrase gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss and turned it into a song. So
that's awesome.
That's cool. More, again, the lead single for this album, something that I really enjoyed. You get to the next track, Escapism. I want this to be my favorite song on the album so bad, but the closer exists and we'll get to that. Escapism it is so goddamn good. It dives into the idea of escapism as like a way to escape from reality, which, you know, not exactly the most creative thing, but the way that they sell the story of escapism, in the first verse, they said, to feel something instead, I will dive into my own delusions. And then in the chorus of the song is, so I close my eyes till it all fades. And so I close my eyes, then it all fades. Yet I'm still aching, breaking, trying again, but I'll just close my eyes till it all fades. It's going through that idea of like, shit might be rough and you're trying to just block all the noise and forget about it, but you can't escape and you're trying so hard to escape. I just think Escapism is a phenomenal song. It's one of the songs I've been going back to the most on this album. Next song I want to mention is Sharks, which, for as ruthless as Sharks can be, I feel like there's not a lot of metal songs that reference sharks. Am I crazy? I feel like there should be more songs referencing sharks. And
sharks are pretty metal. I think you're
like sharks are pretty metal.
Let me show you.
Exactly. Rocking the Boat, yeah.
Kills.
Yeah, that song is 6 years old. Name me one from the past 4 years, okay?
Isn't there a band called Feed Me to the Sharks or something?
Okay, there might be. On that topic, I think Sharks is probably the heaviest song on this album, and deservedly so. And a lot of the lyricism on it dives into the idea of like the predatory behavior of sharks in the context of humans. At least that's my interpretation of it anyway. There's something lurking in the water. You better swim a little faster now. You get like hushed, don't bleed, don't bleed, don't bleed, don't bleed. Because, you know, sharks, they like can smell blood from like miles away.
Kilometers.
And then it's the meat that really matters. The bones all end up falling out. And then after the first chorus, they touch back on that, like, air quotes, it's the meat that really matters. Does it really matter? I just think it's a really simple but creative songwriting that's going on. Not on just this song, but I feel like across all the songs that I have mentioned before this, it's very simple, it's surface level, yet there's something to piece together when you do dig just a little bit deeper. It's not complicated for the sake of speaking in metaphors. It's not simple just to try and reach the widest audience. It's simplicity for the sake of being concise while also still delivering a powerful message. And I feel like that's what this band nails across this entire album lyrically, on top of just honing in just immaculate instrumentation from front to back. And speaking of back, Automatic Sun, the closer to this album. Again, I was looking up the lyrics for it, and I had no idea what the hell is an automatic sun. Their interpretation of it is they think about people who just light up the room as soon as they walk in. Like you're at a party, someone walks in, and the energy is just lifted. And they think of them as an automatic sun. Of like, as soon as their presence is there, everything gets better. And the chorus of Automatic Sun is like, give me your automatic sun, give me your psychosomatic connection or what, love or something like that. I don't have it written down. But it's not only is Automatic Sun, it just sounds kind of badass, but it's everything that I've praised about this album so far is done the best on Automatic Sun. Incredible instrumentation, the bass, the drumming, the guitars, and then an incredible chorus. And then you close the album with like a double take of the chorus where you slow down all the instrumentation. And I have so much to say about this album that I love. And yeah, I feel like the best way for me to summarize all my thoughts about this album is that The Warning should be at the forefront of rock music, and I think they are. And I stand by this being one of my favorite pure rock albums that I have heard in the past 4, 5, 6 years.
You convinced me on like the second sentence of your review to listen to it. When you started comparing it to Attention, and then everything since then has cemented that. So I'll definitely have to give it a listen.
Yeah, I think you will probably find a lot to enjoy here.
Got you.
I'm not going to guarantee it, but I feel like you will find a lot to enjoy here.